Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Desiree, and if you're new here, thank you for stopping by. I greatly appreciate it. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some tips and advice for not knowing what to do with your life, or maybe you're pivoting into a new career job and you just don't know if that's the right job or career for you. And so I'm really just going to be discussing what to do when you don't know what to do with your life. So let's go ahead and get into the video. As a community college counselor, a lot of students from 18 years old to 40 years old have shared and come to me about not knowing what to do with their life, feeling lost and confused. And for my younger students who are between 18 and 21, a lot of them feel like, I don't know what I want to major in. I don't know what career I want to pursue. And it's mostly like I'm having a hard time choosing a major. And then also, in addition to choosing a major, I don't know what I want to do with that major. So for my students who are the ages 18 to 21, even 25, that is very normal for students and people to feel that way, like they don't know what they want to major in and they really don't know what career they want to pursue with that major. Now, I have also had students who are 25 and up, like 25 and like in their 30s, so like late 20s, late 30s, and even early 40s, come and share like, hey, I haven't gotten a degree, I don't know what to do with my life, I'm so lost, I'm so confused. And for some of them, they were already in a career, like let's say for example they were doing nursing, but then after doing nursing for a few years, they feel burnt out working in the healthcare. They feel like nursing is not for them. The money is good, but they just don't feel like it's purposeful and they want to get into something else. So for my later age students, they really are trying to pivot into something else. But then for some folks, they just, no matter what age they are, they don't know what to do with their life, and they've been hopping from job to job to job. I really want to discuss some realistic and practical tips for you all deciding on what to do with your life or what to major in. So this video is for anybody from ages 21 to I don't know, 80, any age, and if you're still trying to figure out what you want to do, or maybe you just don't know what to do. So I want to give you all some realistic advice and tips on figuring out what to do with your life or what career and job to pursue. So let's go ahead and get into it. First things first is to understand you are more than one thing. You are more than one major that you major in college and minor in college. You are more than your 9-to-5 job. You are more than just your one career that you're pursuing or want to pursue. I feel like everyone is multifaceted, right? And everyone shouldn't have just one job or one career. They should be into a little bit of everything. Yes, you have a 9-to-5 job. Maybe you are a nurse, but then also you might have a small business. Maybe you have a hair care line and you sell hair care products on the side. You don't have to be just one thing. You can be multiple things. I know people who work a 9-to-5 job, but they also do podcasting. They're a podcaster. They have like a whole podcast. We don't have to keep ourselves in a box. And I think that's the beauty of getting into different things. And so I really wanted to state that first, is that you are more than one thing, and it's okay to get into a career or have a career for, like, let's say 20 years, and at that time when you first started that career, it brought you joy. You were really passionate about healthcare or whatever that you pursue for 20 years, but now you're burnt out and you're ready for something new. So you want to pivot into something new. That's okay. A lot of people pivot, and sometimes people pivot and it makes sense. Sometimes people pivot and they shouldn't pivot, and that's what they're trying to get into is not really their calling or their purpose. But either way, it's okay to pivot and try new things. And when we all are pursuing a career, I think we have to remind ourselves is that we don't have to stick with that career forever. And that is what I tell students as a community college counselor, is that you don't have to figure it all out at 18, at 25, or at 30. You can take your time, figuring it out along the way. You can change your mind or change your career at any time. Yes, if you major in something and you get into something totally different, so be it, that happens. But as you go through life and as you go through life experiences, you eventually end up figuring out what you like, what you don't like, what career fields you have tried and what you don't try, and what works out and what doesn't work out. It's all about trial and error. And it's really important to understand that there's no one thing that defines you. You don't need to wait on the calling of your life to embrace where you're at right now. You can just embrace it now and figure it out along the way. And that's what I have loved in my personal journey. I didn't know what I want to do with my life. Shucks, sometimes I still be like, do I want to do this forever? I don't know. But right now it brings me joy. I love it. I love helping people. I love helping students. And I love what I do. So for right now, yes, absolutely. Will I might get into something else down the line? Yes, probably will. But no one thing should define you, or you shouldn't allow one thing to define you. And that's okay. You can choose a multiple of things to do, and throughout your life you can pivot into different things. That's okay. With that being said, I want to discuss some practical tips for you all to figure out what to do with your life. So tip number 1 is to figure out, what do I love doing? And I feel like having a journal or writing this down on a Google Doc or typing it, whatever you like best, but really sit with yourself and write down, what do I love doing? Do I love to read? Do I love to write? For me, it's helping people, using my creative side. I love to just like push myself out the box of figuring out what to do or how to help somebody. And so for me, it was about, I love to write, I love to help people, and I love to talk. So for me, along the way, I figured out, I was like, helping people. I started to get into working in higher ed. It just happened. And then someone told me about, canceling academic advising. And I was like, yeah, I think that's something I see myself doing, because I'm an in-person person. I love to help people and be hands-on. And so for me, deciding on what I love to do kind of made me sit down, okay, what am I good at? What are my strengths, and then what are my weaknesses? And I feel like that can help you answer the overall question, what do I love doing? And if you sit with yourself and figure out what you love doing, that would help with you trying to figure out, okay, what career aligns with what I love to do? And then really trying to kind of go from there and do your research and see where that takes you. In addition to figuring out what you love to do, what are your strengths and weaknesses, is also identifying your why. Why do you want to work in the health field? Why do you want to become a nurse if that's what you want to become? Why do you want to become a lawyer? Why do you want to do anything or pursue anything that you are thinking about pursuing? What is your why? So you really have to ask yourself, what is your why? And I remember after I graduated UC San Diego, I had no idea what I wanted to do. The post-grad blues was for real. They were not lying when they said, like, after you get your undergrad degree, you feel like you are completely lost and you have no idea what you want to do with your life. And my major was psychology, and I thought I wanted to become an occupational therapist. Well, I thought that, right? And I thought, okay, well, I like to help people. But as I did my internship and I did more research and learning more about becoming an occupational therapist, I realized it has a lot of math and science in the field. And it's a lot of memorization. I have to take an exam for it, like a license exam. And I realized, I said, I don't like helping people with their hands and strokes. Like, I'm not really fit to work in healthcare. I'm not fit to become an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, a nurse. Like, it's just not my strengths, right? And it also has like a lot of math and science, and I'm not good at math and science, okay? I'm gonna try to figure it out. I'm gonna try to talk to other people, go to what's it called, the master's orientation exam about becoming an OT or getting your master's in OT, then I slowly realized, I was like, yeah, this is not for me. But after doing my research and talking to different people, I realized that becoming an occupational therapist is not for me. And I had to sit down with myself, and after crying and boo-hooing and figuring out like what I'm gonna do and the world is ending, I was like, okay, what is my why? And after sitting with myself, I reflected on how I struggled so much in school, how I felt like giving up. And I realized that if I felt like giving up with having a learning disability and I just struggled so much in school, I know there's a lot of other people who might felt the same way I did or kind of had a similar experience, and how I was one of the rare peoples who actually made it to the finish line, obtaining my bachelor's and then getting my master's degree. And I know that a lot of people, LD, a learning disability or a physical disability, don't make it to that point. And I was like, you know what, I think I want to work in higher education. I worked as a student worker in community college, and when I transferred to UC San Diego, and helping other students or helping my peers reach their academic goals or helping them in any kind of capacity brought me joy. I was like, wow, I'm so happy that I'm able to help somebody else, right? And I figured out my why to becoming an academic advisor and working in higher education was because I want to help someone who is struggling academically. I want to encourage someone. I want to help someone reach their academic goals and beyond. And I want to uplift someone who has a learning disability. So really, my why to becoming a academic advisor working in higher education was because I want to help someone who is struggling academically and feel like giving up. That was my why. After I figured out my why, I started to take action. And when I say action, intentional action. Well, if I want to make an impact on students, right, and work in student services, I'm going to have to apply for some positions at a four-year college or a community college. And that's what I did. I applied for some positions, got a lot of decline, rejections, but then I was able to get a job as a first-year experience program at a community college, which led to me meeting a community college counselor, and she shared her experience with me, and she came up to me and was like, I feel like you will be a great fit. And I was like, okay, well, thank you so much. And I started to ask her questions on her day-to-day duties as a community college counselor. What does it look like? What do you do? What can you do? And how much money you make? Period. How much money you make? And then when she told me how much money she made, I was like, okay, say less. Say less, child, say less. And then after she told me all those things, and I even shadowed her in an appointment with the student, I was like, yes, I see myself doing exactly what you are doing. And then she was like, well, you have to get your master's degree. All right, I got my master's degree. So I took action. So after you figure out your why, you have to take intentional steps to make your why a reality. So if you want to work in a business, you want to become a businessman, businesswoman, you want to run your own company one day, right? Then you need to go on LinkedIn and search up some different business people or successful business people in your area or in your state. And when you come across people profiles and you go on their LinkedIn and you read what they do and how, you know, their education, I recommend, and I always recommend to students all the time, is to message that person and to ask if you can set up a informational interview with them, like through phone call or through Zoom. And in that informational interview, you can ask them like, what are your day-to-days? What do you love about your job? How did you get to where you're at right now? You know, do you recommend, you know, me pursuing your field? Like, what are the pros and cons? Questions like that to kind of see if this is a career or a job that you want to pursue, you know. And the more you talk to people within that field, it's going to kind of make sense to you, because you know yourself more than anything, if that's something that you would want to do. Does that bring you joy? Is it something that you can see yourself like actually being happy with every single day, like getting up every single day, being happy with that job, right? Or with that career. So you really have to talk to different people in the field that you want to pursue. A lot of people don't do enough research, and a lot of people don't talk to enough people in the field that they are interested in getting into. So you just can't talk to one person who's a nurse if you want to become a nurse. I would talk to multiple nurses to see if this is something that I want to do. I would even see if I can shadow a nurse to see if that's something I want to do. Nurses, they make great money, but the con to being a nurse is that they work long hours and it's a tough job. It's not easy. You on your feet all day. You know, a person health and life is sometimes in their hands, same as a doctor or a surgeon. There's always pros and cons to a career, to a job, and you have to ask yourself, what cons am I willing to put up with? Because there's no perfect job. And I even hear from people who are full-time content creators, it's tough. It's not easy. Growing on social media is not easy. For some people, they grow instantly. For some people, it's a slow, steady growth, right? It's difficult. Entrepreneurship is difficult. Like running multiple business, starting a startup company, everything requires work, discipline, patience, and it has some type of con to it. So you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to put up with? You know, your love and your why for whatever you're getting into has to be stronger than the cons, right? As a community college counselor, there's a lot of pros and then there's a lot of cons to it, right? My love for helping students and helping students of color who look like me reach their educational goals and beyond is what gives me joy. Like, it literally gives me joy. And so that over trumps, right, the cons. That, like, I don't care, like, yes, there's cons, but I genuinely love what I do. And so I'm willing to put up with the cons. I'm willing to put up with, you know, the downside at working in higher ed and the downside of maybe, you know, working in academic advising and different things like that, because I love what I do. And so you have to ask yourself, what do you love to do? What is your why? Like, what is your mission? Like, what is your why? And then what are you willing to put up with, right? So there's pros and cons to anything. And you also have to be okay with, hey, I can pursue something and I can also get into something else at the same time. So I think a lot of people just overthink it. They just overthink trying to figure out what to do. Choose one job, choose one career, see where that takes you. If it's aligned with your strengths, go with that position, go with that job, go with that career. If it doesn't align with your value, your mission statement, with your why, if it doesn't align with your why or what you want to do, then don't do it. Overall, it's about sitting with yourself and figuring out what is your why. After you figure out your why, take intentional steps to see if that's really something you want to do. Part of figuring out what you want to do with your life is all about exploring. It's all about exploring. And the more you live life, the more you go through life experience, the more you have an idea of what you like and what you dislike. And you will come across people in your life who will tell you, you will be good at this position. I can see you in this field. And when people tell you that, take it as a compliment, but also run with it and figure it out. Hey, I think I am really good at business. I think I could be really successful as a doctor or as an engineer, and go for it and see what happens. But don't be so hard on yourself if you don't know what you want to do right now. The more you live life, the more you go through experiences, you are going to figure out. Most people figure it out along the way. And that's my advice to you all. Take your time, figure it out, explore new things, try new things, make mistakes, get back up again. That's part of life. But the more you live life, the more you figure out what you want to do. And so that's my advice to y'all. I hope this video was helpful. I really hope it encouraged you all to know that we don't have to stick with one career or one thing. You are multifaceted. We are multifaceted as people. We can get into multiple things. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.